So this is part 7 of series breakdown in the book of Genesis, and I was listening to a man named Zach Ponin, and if you haven't heard of Zach Ponin, check him out. And he's an evangelist based in India, and he often gets asked this question if he believes in arranged marriages, and he said, which I thought was funny, yes, marriage is arranged by God. And if you know India, they arrange marriages, but nothing to do with God though. But yeah. So, but if you go to Genesis 24, Abraham is pretty much arranging a marriage. A marriage pretty much arranged. Trying to find a godly woman for his son Isaac, and I think it's the longest chapter in the Bible actually. 67 verses, and I'm not gonna read all of this, but yeah, I'm gonna start reading from verse 22 where it says. But I'm gonna give some context. He sent his servant Eliezer to find a godly woman for his son Isaac, and he was pretty much testing these women and trying to find their motive and how they would react. And start reading from verse 22. Genesis 24 verse 22, where it says, when the camels had finished drinking, the man took gold ring weighing a half shekel, and 2 bracelets for arms weighing 10 gold shekels. Verse 23, and said, please tell me whose daughter you are. Is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night? Verse 24, she said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whose she bore to Nahor. Verse 25, she added, we have plenty of both straw and fodder, and room to spend the night. Verse 26, the man bowed his head and worshipped the Lord. Verse 27, and said, blessed be the Lord, the God of my father, of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his steadfast love and his faithfulness toward my master. As for me, the Lord has led me in the way to the house of my master's kinsman. So why was Eliezer that gracious and thankful? Because Rebecca pretty much passed the test, and you see, he didn't go as announcing who he was, because that would automatically motivate her or any woman to be on their best behavior, knowing that Abraham, who's a wealthy man, that God is blessed with land and a lot of resources, that back then, women, valued a man that, had, wealth and, financial stability, and it's nothing changed. That's something that women really look for in a man today also. And but Eliezer came as just a regular man that, just trying to figure out how Rebecca would treat him, by asking certain tasks, and asking her to, can you get water for my camels, and just trying to see how she would respond to just a gracious man. Just some random man, giving her these requests, and she was very gracious and loving and very godly. And the Bible says you must know them by their fruit. Like, one way to discern, if a person is a man or a woman of God without them announcing it, is how they react, just in general. For example, you see, most of us, if we got the opportunity to see the president, we would treat him, we'd be on our best behavior. But what about that? What about those times when no cameras are on you and nobody's around, and a homeless person asks you for something? How would you treat them? How would you treat people that are not as high in status or respected on earth? How would you treat them to some of the highest status and most prestige people? See, the godly person will treat them all equal. As a matter of fact, the godly person would treat the person that's homeless with more love and compassion, because that person needs that at that moment, and needs the help. So But so that's why like Eliezer pretty much was testing Rebecca, and marriage is struggling a great deal today, because we strayed away from this. We're not really courting our spouse in a way to find out if they're a godly person or not. you know guys are falling in love with women based on their looks and nothing but that, a lot of it. And that's why divorce is at a high rate amongst the church, because guys are not following the biblical principles and what this Bible speaks about when it comes to this covenant and this contract of marriage of that we get into when we become one flesh. A lot of people that go to church don't know the biblical implications of what marriage represents. That's why a lot of them just get divorced, not even understanding what they did with that divorce. Divorce is not something that God intends for a Christian, because that's why He says one must be equally yoked, and that's why Abraham was looking for a woman that was of the same fold, right? And we would also see, Jacob, the son of Abraham, and Jacob, the son of Isaac and Rebecca. And I'm gonna go to the chapter. Go straight to the chapter. Don't act up now. Don't act up now. All right, Genesis 31, verse 41. So this is Jacob speaking, and he says, "These 20 years I have been in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flock. And you have changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been on my side, surely now you would have sent me away empty-handed. God saw my afflictions and the labor of my hands and rebuked you last night." So just one may say, Jacob, who was the son of Isaac and Rebecca, and godly parents, and Jacob, who went on to be a prophet, man of God. But for God to get us to the place where He needs us to be to serve us, He allows these mistakes and these mistakes to strengthen us. Because a lot of people, I've heard the question, if God exists, why does His servants go through so much trials and tribulations? Look at the godly parents of His grandparents, Sarah and Abraham. Look at some of the mistakes they made. And those mistakes were used to strengthen them, to have stronger faith in God and less faith in themselves. So God allows us to make our mistakes, because when we make those mistakes, we will realize that our ways are not as good as His ways. And Jacob, he was not like the way, like honestly, he was looking for a woman was not the way Abraham was looking for a woman for his son Isaac. Jacob, the son of Isaac, he was in love with Rachel. Love at first sight. Have you ever heard of that? Love at first sight. He was in love at Rachel. Love at first sight. Love at first sight is not real. That's a hoax. And there's no such thing as love at first sight. And Jacob had a very shallow reason of why he wanted Rachel over Leah, and it was all based on how she looked, and because she didn't know her. And but when he worked for his father-in-law to earn, Rachel, he was tricked. And he worked the first 7 years, and he was tricked into marrying Leah, which was the older sister. And you know, and then he had to work another 7 years, and then so he worked 20 years for this man. And one may say, why does godly people, like I said, you see, Jacob got to knew who Rachel was all that time. You see, like we rush into things because we're not doing what Paul says in Corinthians 3:2, set your mind on the heavenly things and not the earthly things. We're looking for the temporary things. You know, many guys to this day are falling for what they visually see. Many women are falling what they financially see. And both of them are not bad, but they're not what equates to spiritual, you know, and discern of a godly man or a godly woman. And, you know, because when Abraham sent his servant Eliezer to court Rebecca, you know, he didn't go in status. He didn't go to try to, you know, win. No, he was trying to find who this woman is and what a motive is to a random person, a stranger. And why is this important? Because it's important to understand our identity and who we are. Because, you know, divorce shouldn't be at such a high rate if godly people really discern who we are and who they're courting, who the person that they're trying to get involved with is. And of course, like I said, Abraham made mistakes, Isaac, Jacob, all God's servants made mistakes. Our mistakes, but are you learning from your mistakes? So that's the challenge, youth. Are we learning from our mistakes? God bless.